They call it the 100 Years' War, but it's a lie. The name itself is misleading, a simplification of a complex and prolonged conflict that spanned more than a century. This clash of empires, this epic struggle, actually lasted 116 years. It was a period marked by intense battles, strategic maneuvers, and significant political upheaval. From 1337 to 1453, England and France fought for dominance. The war saw the rise and fall of kings, the devastation of lands, and the suffering of countless people. Imagine generations born and raised in the shadow of war, entire lifetimes spent amidst the chaos and uncertainty of a seemingly endless conflict. It was a conflict that would reshape Europe. The political landscape of the continent was forever altered, with borders redrawn and power structures shifted. The 100 Years' War wasn't one long fight. It was punctuated by periods of peace, truces, and negotiations, each bringing a temporary respite from the bloodshed. It was a series of wars, truces, and shifting alliances. The loyalties of nobles and kings were constantly in flux, making the conflict even more unpredictable. But at its heart was a simple question: who would rule France? This question drove the ambitions of monarchs and fueled the fires of war. The answer, as you'll see, wasn't simple at all. The resolution of this conflict would take many twists and turns, leaving a lasting legacy on European history. It all started with a crown, a symbol of power, authority, and legitimacy. But this crown was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was the key to a kingdom. The French king died without a clear heir. His death left a vacuum, a void that many sought to fill. The throne stood empty, a silent witness to the brewing storm. Edward III of England, grandson of the French king, thought he had a claim. He believed his bloodline gave him the right to rule, a belief that would ignite a conflict. The French disagreed. They crowned their own king, Philip VI. To them, Philip was the rightful ruler, chosen to lead France through turbulent times. Edward wouldn't back down. He saw a chance to grab power and land. His ambition knew no bounds, and he was determined to press his claim, no matter the cost. And so in 1337, he declared war. This was not just a battle for a throne, but a struggle for dominance, a fight that would shape the future of Europe. The English army, fueled by ambition, landed in France. They were ready to fight, to conquer, and to claim what they believed was rightfully theirs. The 100 Years' War had begun, a war that would rage on for over a century, leaving a trail of blood and destruction in its wake. It wasn't just about the throne, it was about power, prestige, and the future of two nations. England and France were already rivals. Their animosity ran deep, fueled by years of competition and conflict. They competed for control of trade routes. These routes were the lifelines of their economies, and control over them meant wealth and power. They fought over territory in France. Each piece of land was a strategic asset, a stepping stone to greater dominance. This war was a boiling point, a release of years of tension. It was a conflict that would change the course of history, leaving an indelible mark on both nations. The English army had a secret weapon, the longbow. This deadly weapon could fire arrows further and faster than any other bow. At the Battle of Crécy in 1346, English longbowmen devastated the French knights. It was a shocking victory. The longbow changed warfare. Armor was no longer enough to protect knights. Skilled archers could pick off enemies from afar. The English victories at Poitiers in 1356 and Agincourt in 1415 further proved the longbow's power. By 1429, France was losing the war. English armies occupied much of their land. But then, a young peasant woman named Joan of Arc arrived. She claimed to have visions from God, urging her to save France. Joan's unwavering faith inspired the French army. She led them to victory at the Siege of Orléans, a turning point in the war. Though Joan was captured and executed by the English, her courage and faith rallied the French people. The 100 Years' War finally ended in 1453, bringing an end to a conflict that had spanned over a century. This prolonged war had seen numerous battles, shifting alliances, and significant bloodshed. England lost almost all its territory in France, retaining only the port city of Calais. This loss marked a significant shift in the balance of power in medieval Europe. Both countries were exhausted and transformed. The war had drained their resources and left their populations weary and war-torn. Villages were destroyed and countless lives were lost. The war had a lasting impact on Europe, reshaping borders and influencing the political landscape for generations to come. It also set the stage for future conflicts and alliances. The war forged a strong sense of national identity in both England and France. People began to see themselves as part of a nation, rather than just subjects of a king. It also led to important changes in warfare. The introduction of gunpowder weapons such as cannons revolutionized military tactics and diminished the dominance of traditional knightly combat. The power of knights declined, replaced by professional armies and new technologies like cannons. This shift marked the beginning of modern warfare, where strategy and technology played a crucial role. Most importantly, the war showed that ordinary people could change the course of history. The involvement of commoners in the conflict demonstrated their potential to influence significant events. Joan of Arc's story resonated across Europe, a testament to the power of courage and belief. Her leadership and vision inspired many and left an indelible mark on history. The 100 Years' War might be over, but its legacy lives on. The events and changes it brought about continue to be remembered and studied, shaping our understanding of medieval Europe.